how to prepare for the test on squares where you're expected to memorize all the squares from 0 to 20. Okay, here's a way to do it. Here's my suggestion on how to do this test. As soon as you get the paper, write down this table. 0 times 0, 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. Yeah, write out both numbers, okay? Write out 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, etc. Just spend a minute just literally writing these out. For example, it's obvious, but write out 4 times 4. Oh, man. 4 times 4. 5 times 5. 6 times 6. Just trust me, write those all out, okay? Now you have to start filling them out. You actually have to fill some of these out. Okay, let's go through them. 1 times 1, you can think to yourself, what would you write for 1 times 1? 1 times 1 is 1. You don't really need the equal sign. 2 times 2, yeah? What's that? 4. 3 times 3, think about, I'll pause for a second. 9. 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 5, 25. 6 times 6, 36. 7 times 7. That's right, 49. 8 times 8. Think it through. 64. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Looks a little weird, but that's right. 9 times 9? 81. Okay, 10 times 10. Oh my god. 12 times 12. Okay, 11 times 11 you probably should memorize, okay? So that, I think most people know that. It's 121. That you should memorize. 12 times 12 you definitely should memorize. That has to be 144. It's very helpful to memorize 15 times 15, which is 225. And of course, look at that, I made a mistake. You will make small mistakes, correct them on the way. 20 times 20, 400. Okay, I'm not into memorizing anything, but guess what? You have to memorize all of these numbers. Now, most of these you already know. You just have to memorize these numbers. Okay? You repeat, you have to memorize these numbers. And it's useful because these numbers come up all the time. You really do have to memorize these numbers. Okay, after you've written this table down on the side of your test, what do? Now, you look at the entire test. Okay? You review the test. Let's say this is the test. Okay? Now, you look at the questions with the numbers that you have to take the square root of. Like this one. You have a square whose surface is 361. What is the size of the square? You have to know what the square root of 361 is, okay, in order to do this test. Then here's an explicit one. What is the square root of 289? Obviously, you have to know that. What number do you have to square to get 196? Look at all the questions that have a question where you have to take the square root of it. In other words, all the questions with the big number, okay? All the questions with the big number. Now, write down those numbers next to near your table, like 361. Okay? So, you're going to write down over here, you're going to write down 361. Now, look at your table. 361. 361 clearly has to be between 225 and 400. It has to be, right? Because it's between 225 and 400. Note, 361 ends with a 1. What is the only possible number of 16, 17, 18, 19 that if you multiply by themselves, you're going to get the last digit to be a 1? Well, think about it. 16 times 16, the last digit is 6 times 6. Look at your table above. It ends with a 6. No. 17 times 17. 7 times 7 is 49. No. 18 times 18. 8 times 8 is 64. Ends with a 4. No. 9 times 9 is 81. Oh, wow, 81. It ends with a 1. I got that one. 361. You're helping set up your table. Next one, 289. 289. You write it down. 289. 289. 289. 289 clearly has to be between 225 and 361. Has to end with a 9. What numbers here when you multiply by each other? What is the number? 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times, oh, look at that. 7 times 7 is 49. Oh my God, 49. That's it, because it ends with a 9. Okay, we're filling out the table. Next victim. What number do you have to do to square 196? Okay, so you write down 196. 196. Uh-oh, where did 196 go? Oh, God, I lost my cursor. 196. Come on. Oh, I hate computers. Okay, 196. 196, 196 has to be between 144 and 225, right? Now it ends with a 6. So, let's go through this. What number, what can it be? Is it 13 times 13 or 14 times 5, 14? Okay, 3 times 3 is 9. No, loses that one. 4 times 4 is 16. Ends with a 6. Has to be this one. Look at this. You're starting to fill out your table without having to memorize anything. You're just using a trick. You're using a mathematical trick. It's cool. Okay, now, go back to this thing. Now you have this problem. 17 kids in a class eat 17 nuts. How many nuts were eaten that day? You have to know 17 squared. Okay, go back to your table. Oh, well, you got that one already because she was lucky enough to give you that one. So you have that one already. Okay, good. Okay, now let's do this one. Okay. Oh, look at this. What's a square has a side of, I missed this one. What square has a side of 324? You have to know the square root of 324. Okay, so you write down 324. Oh my goodness. Let's just put it here. 324. Okay, so 324. So 324 has to be between 289 and 361. It obviously has to be 18 times 18 plus, as a check, 8 times 8 is 64, ends with a 4. Everyone is happy. Okay, now you're really filling out this table. Now, I don't know what that is. Okay, come on. Okay, now, oh, look at that. You're done. So, but you're not going to be so lucky. You're not going to be so lucky. You basically then have looked at the test and you filled out the table for everything you need. Now, you look at the test, and after you've done these ones where you have to figure out what the square roots of these numbers are, you look at the test, she's going to give you questions like, and I'm going to make this one up because we don't know the table, 16 times 16, okay? So she's going to give you a question saying simply, what is 16 times 16? Okay, now, again, you're doing this before, you're just looking at the test. You're not doing any questions. You're looking at the test because you're going to make the table for the test, okay? What is 16 times 16? Now, you look at your table. You don't know what 16 times 16 is, and you don't feel like sitting there and multiplying it. Okay? But there's a trick. There is a trick to this. Right off to the side in very, very light pencil. Very, very light pencil. 225 plus and add 15 plus 15. Okay, see those numbers there? 15 times 15. You add the numbers next to the square root. 15 times 15 plus 15. This one's easy. 15 plus 15. Now, you know 15 plus 15 is 30, and 30 plus 255 is like 255. So, it's like 255 is it's going to be close to 255. Okay, the answer is going to be close to 255, right? Now, but what's the last digit? What does the last digit have to be? 16 times 16 is 36. Look at your table. The last digit is a 6. So, this number has to be a 6. It has to be a 6. Okay? So, the answer is 256. Okay? Now, notice you're filling out the table without having to memorize anything. By the way, after you've done this little thing, if you've written it in, erase it, erase it. It's like a little private little thing to yourself there. Okay? Now, so then you go through the test, and you look at the test, and you figure out all the squares you need for the test. Okay? Maybe you don't need 13 times 13, so you don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to worry about it, okay? So then you're done. Now you have your table, and you will go through and do your test because you have the table, right? And then if you have any questions, you just look at the table and you pick off the answers. Okay? You also have to know what the formula is for the area of a square. This is probably like 100% guarantee this is going to be on the test. The area of a square is the side of the square squared. You saw this last year. In other words, a square has a side of 12. The area of the square is 144, which is 12 squared. The area of a square is 400. Then the side of the square is 20, which is the square root of 400. You just look at your table. Okay, now let's you could stop the video here and you're done. I just want to show you the worst case that could happen here. Maybe it's worth you watching this. Okay, the worst case that can happen on a test like this is, on a thing like this, anyway, you're done. You don't really have to watch this unless you want to be prepared for the worst case, okay? The worst case is you fill out your table so far, and you're going like this, and all of a sudden, the test has a question like, you have to know 18 times 18, okay? So, you have this table, this is the way it looks, and you have to fill out 18 times 18. Okay, now, what do? Remember I told you the trick for this one was it's 225 plus this plus 15 plus 15. But what do you do here? You're sort of stuck. So what you do is you do the same thing, but you watch. You just watch what you do. You write 256, right? And then you add all the numbers you see over here, 17, 17, 18, and 18. So you go 17 plus 17 plus 18 plus 18, okay? So you have to add all these numbers up. So you sort of do them on the side, or you can approximate. 18 side 18 is like, and 18 side 18 is like 36, and I don't know. You have to approximate these things. Like 18 side 18 is really close to 20 plus 20. So that's like, you're going to be adding like a 40. And like 17 plus 17, round that one down to like 15 plus 15. So that's like a 30. Okay, and then you got the 256. So what have you got? What have you got here? You got to sort of do this adding stuff. You got like 70 and 256. Let's see. This is by far the hardest thing to do. Sometimes you might as well just multiply them out. But 70 plus 630 plus 40 is 70 plus 256 is like 70 plus 50 is, I don't know, 326, something like that. Right? So you got 320, approximately 326. But guess what? What does it have to end with? 8 times 8 is 64. Has to end with a 4. So the answer is 324. Okay? So a situation like this, you have to add all the numbers. You see 256, and then you add 16 plus 16 plus 17 times 17 to 18 times 18. It's sort of like jumping stones in a pond, You see the pond. It's actually a lot of fun. You go from one stone to the other, and you have to jump over a few stones because some of the stones aren't big enough for you to stand on. So here you're sort of like jumping on these little stones. Okay, so, oh, wow, that was not good. But thank God they have this back thing here. Okay, so that's how you do it if you're stuck on these islands. And so either, this is what I would suggest doing. This is an easy way where you don't have to actually multiply the numbers, but you remember this trick. You're sort of memorizing a trick, right? And you write down the table before you take the test, but you only need the numbers on the table that are actually on the test, okay? That's why you read the test completely first, and you write down the numbers that you need from the test on your table if they haven't already been filled out. You're lucky most of the test is going to be 0 through, the easy ones, 0 through 11 and 15 and 20. Okay, 70% of the test is going to be these numbers. So you're going to have these other numbers in here, but this is how I would suggest you prepare for the test. The other possibility is just write down the table and just memorize it the way, the traditional way. Just fill out the table. What is this one? 169. That's interesting. The 169, 196 are a little weird there. 79, 70 is 289. My Boy Scout troop was 289. That's how I remember that one. And this one, this one's interesting. This one's 400. You could subtract. I guess I'll show you this trick. You go 400, and then you're going up the table. You're going up the table. You're going to a lower number, going up the table here. So you just subtract 20 minus 20. See, here going here, you add. It's a bigger number. You add. Here, it's a smaller number. It makes sense, right? 1990 is clearly less than 400. So you subtract 20 and 20, you subtract these numbers. Subtract 19 from 19 either. 19 is close to 20. Subtract 19 or 20 from 400, so what's that? That's like 360. 360-ish, as they say. But it can't be 360 because 9 times 9 is 81, has to end with a 1, so it is 361. Okay, so then now, if the other possibility is just write down this whole table, memorize the whole thing, and then you're totally set. But you don't really have to do that. You only have to write down the table for the questions that she's asking for. Okay, I hope this helps. A little too long, as usual, but use this as a study guide, okay? And you should be fine, okay? You really should be fine. You got this one. Okay, talk to you later.